Yeah, I know.
That is, unless the calendars, of course.
Exactly, and it might be screwed up because right about the time Revelation was written, they toyed around with the calendar. I forgot Pope Gregory. We went from the Gregorian calendar, or we're on the Gregorian calendar now. I'm not sure, but somehow they got it messed up.
Well, we'll find out all at once. I mean, there'd barely be time to look up and say, "Oh, Nostradamus was," and you wouldn't even get the right part out.
Absolutely. Well, you want to hear the riddle?
Sure.
Okay. It's Revelation chapter 9, verses 1 through 11. John sees a star fall from the sky. Now, the word star is capitalized because it's personified. The star hits the earth,
yes,
opens up the abyss. Out of the abyss come locusts. Now, the locusts have 5 characteristics. They have teeth of a lion, hair like a woman, scales on their chest, a scorpion sting, and the face of a man, body of a horse. That's our timeline right there. Teeth of a lion, that's Leo. Hair like a woman, that's Virgo. Scales on their chest, that's Libra. A scorpion tail is obviously Scorpio. And body of a horse, face of a man is Sagittarius. So we've got 5 consecutive months there beginning on July 23rd and ending on December 21st. So there's a timeline. Now, the word star is capitalized in some Bible. That's because it's personified. And the locusts have a king over them. And his name in Hebrew is Abaddon. Translated into Greek is Apollyon, and finally into English, Apollo. That is what I struggled with for the longest time. Why was a Greek god mentioned in the Bible? It just didn't make sense. And then, lo and behold, one night you had on an astronomer who was talking about Earth-crossing asteroids.
That's right.
And he gave out the 3 categories, and one of them was Apollo. One of the 3 Earth-crossing asteroid categories is Apollo. And in that range of asteroids, there is an actual asteroid named Apollo.
He's the one.
Yeah.
So, you've got a timeline in terms of months, but what about year?
Well, see, if Nostradamus was right, if the years are changed,
yes,
then we're further ahead in time, right?
Yes.
So, I don't know. I'm still struggling with that part.
All right. Well, then, for about half the year you're comfortable, and half the year you're nervous.
Well, last year I was nervous.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't figured this out yet. All I had was the timeline. And then this was around last Christmas when you had this guest on who was an...
well remember. Thank you very much for the call. Yeah. That's the way it would happen. Most of these near Earth or Earth orbit crossing pieces of rock that could be ELEs. Remember ELE? Ellie, remember? Extinction level event. These big rocks that could crash into us. Most of them we have not categorized. We don't even know about them. They found one the other day, as a matter of fact, that will pass about 4 times the distance of the moon from Earth. Now, that's pretty close. That's pretty close, folks. And one of these days, one of them's going to hit us. And we're not going to know about it. The one that gets you is the one that you don't see coming. And there's good grounds for that old saying, you don't see it coming, the one that gets you. Well, you don't. It's headed straight in. And, heck, we barely notice the ones that manage to catch the sun at enough of an angle, much less the ones that are coming straight at us. So probably we'd have enough time to notice that something was happening in the sky, and we'd look up and say, what the hell's... and all conversation would end. West of the Rockies, you're on the air.
Hi, Susan calling from New Mexico. Just wanted to tell you where Linda Moulton Howe is.
Where?
She's at the Aztec UFO conference.
Oh, no kidding.
Yes, I went to her book signing tonight.
Well, thank you. Oh, thank you. I was a little concerned about Linda because she didn't tell me she was going, or maybe she did, and I said, Linda, can you report from New Mexico? By God, she did tell me. And but then she couldn't get information because she said there was a gag order on what's going on up in Oregon.
That's what she said tonight.
She said that too tonight?
Yeah.
Did she talk much about it?
Yes, we went through crop mutilations, and we were talking about crop circles. Animal
mutilations
and the crop circles, and alternative realities and string theories and so on. We were talking about a lot. It was a tremendous book signing and a tremendous presentation, and she's the principal speaker on Saturday.
You know, I really should have remembered that because she promoted that on the air when she was on last week. And somehow or another, it just blew right out of my mind. And because she was gone and didn't call me the following day, I thought, man, she's on the way to Oregon. But no.
She might be going after the conference. I really don't know.
Could be. It'd be an easy move.
And the other thing I wanted to talk to you about is I also lived in Media, Pennsylvania.
You did?
Yeah, on Orange Street.
I went to Rose Tree Elementary.
I was an adult when I lived there, back in the early 80s. But the last time I visited, the trolley was still running.
Really? I'd love to go back.
Yeah, it's still a nice town.
Cool. That's nice to know.
And you're the best thing since Long John Nebel.
Thank you, dear.
Okay.
Take care. Well, I don't know. First-time caller line, you're on the air. Hello.
How are we doing, Art?
We are, as the doctor would say, we are fine.
I've been traveling a lot, so I haven't caught you every night. Does Gary North come on this year to apologize for his scare tactics?
No, and he doesn't apologize for what he said. You know, Gary North warned people of the possibility of a disaster. And there could have been a disaster. They spent, and really people ought to be thanking Gary North and people like him, because $250 billion was spent, and it worked.
Well,
now, if there weren't people out there screaming that a big problem was on the way, what do you think would have happened?
Well, I think probably the same thing happened in China and Russia and every place else where they didn't do anything. And it worked.
Well, you know, their computers are pretty backward compared to what we've got here, and I guess you can say that Y2K was a non-event. And certainly in some respects it was. But it would have been an event in this country, believe me, had they not spent the money. So I guess you could say Gary should call and apologize for scaring people. But if it hadn't been for the Gary Norths, the Ed Jordans, and frankly people even at the Senate level, you may recall, screaming and yelling about what was coming if we don't move fast, something would have occurred. So there's several ways of looking at it, and I really don't think Gary feels apologetic about warning people about what would have happened. He was on that very early. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
I was thinking about what you all said about looking for a sign.
Yes.
Don't you see signs all around you all the time? Look at the signs of you being saved from all sorts of things.
Well, there is that, I suppose. But what if I walk in front of an 18-wheeler tomorrow?
And?
And get smushed.
And?
Die.
Huh?
Die.
Yeah. Things die.
Right.
People die.
Right.
But your spirit lives on.
I mean, all kinds of things I guess you could think of as a sign, but you could also just think of them as things that happen to you in life. Stuff happens, you know?
Oh, stuff happens, definitely. But and he was right about this. God is love. And that love that you feel for others and that moves you to help others and that moves you to be compassionate to others,
right,
that has a source. It has a meaning.
As does the source of evil in men.
Well, that's what that free will piece was. But look around you for signs. I mean, flex your hand. How can you do that? Isn't that cool? Is it a miracle?
Well, I'm too used to it to think of it as a miracle. Now, my hand had been unflexible for all my life, and suddenly I could flex it. That would be a miracle.
See, that's the thing. God has put signs all around you. There's signs everywhere. So this sign is, look, take a look around.